all this
אז אני
extremism.
שמח לפגוש את
So
השטן
I'm
הזה
very happy to meet the devil.
שנלחם
I notice you're wearing a shirt or a button that says "I'm a Zionist." What does a Zionist mean to you? What is a Zionist?
What we've done and where we've come in 3 years, if we had funding, we'd finish Islam.
In realms about Zionism, about international banking, about a lot of things like that. And since it does denote that it is Israel first, can you possibly serve two masters? Meaning, can you serve England and Israel at the same time? Tommy Robinson of the EDL, based out of England and Luton, actually, right?
Luton, just north of London.
Okay. I'm going to ask him a few questions. Right, and I noticed in your when you were speaking up there, or your co-partner, I forget his name again.
Kevin.
Yep, Kevin. He had mentioned that you were the first group to fight Islam politically in England. Is that correct?
Yeah, we're the first group to tackle it and to take to the streets against it. And we only took to the streets due to an inability by our political leaders and our political elite and our police forces to tackle this problem, to identify the problem. We have more Muslim extremists now in Europe than ever in history. Okay. And Islam's been trying to take over Europe for 1400 years, and it's now closer than it ever has been.
There are other groups, though, like the National Front, the Front National, and the BNP, who's been fighting this for years?
When you talk about fighting it for years, those groups differ in many ways, because those are just Nazis, backward.
Have they not been fighting Islamification?
They fight anything that's not white. So they don't. We are sole purpose to tackle Islam. They tackle and they have hatred for anything that's not white.
It's not white. Were you part of the BNP at one time?
I was part of the BNP in 2004.
Were you part of the BNP at one time?
I was part of the BNP in 2004.
Were you part of the BNP at one time?
I was part of the BNP in 2004.
Okay. Now, I've got to ask you a couple tough questions here in order to be fair. Okay. Funding. How do you receive your funding?
We have no funding.
You have no funding. There's no funding?
We have done everything we've done over 3.5 years on £40,000, probably $50,000 that we've made through selling T-shirts.
And that's over a 3-year period?
Over a 3-year period.
That is basically no funding.
That's no funding, man. Trust me, that's no funding. We've skinned ourselves from it. Our members pay for. We pay for everything ourselves. And if you look at what we've done and where we've come in 3 years, if we had funding, we'd finish Islam in Britain.
Now, I got another question for you. I notice you're wearing a shirt or a button that says "I'm a Zionist." What does a Zionist mean to you? What is a Zionist?
Well, a Zionist is someone who believes in a homeland for Jewish people.
I believe. My definition, when I've looked at that in the dictionary, is Israel first.
It means Israel first.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I believe in Israel's right to exist. I believe in their right to defend themselves. I believe that the Jews have been persecuted. And when I look at the Israeli thing, I look at it from my own point of view, growing up in Luton town. The main extremist is, the Stockholm bomber that we spoke about earlier. He was radicalised in the Luton Islamic Centre. The Luton Islamic Centre used to be the Jewish synagogue until they smashed it up, attacked it and drove them out of there. About 6 years ago, I was walking through Luton and I see some Orthodox rabbis. They had all these police around them walking. What's going on there? They're getting a police escort to walk through the streets of Luton. Now, this is year 2012 now in Britain, and no one could wear a skull cap from one Islamic area to the other. They wouldn't get out of that area. So I see today that the Jewish people are persecuted, and I believe no one speaks up for them.
Well, there is a negative incantation in a lot of realms about Zionism, about international banking, about a lot of things like that. And since it does denote that it is Israel first, can you possibly serve two masters? Meaning, can you serve England and Israel at the same time?
My battle is on my homeland, is England. And with regards to the Zionists, Nick Griffin from the BNP, he made a recent video where all he went on about was that I am a Zionist. So this is humour as well. I've just put this.
So it's humorous.
I've just put this picture on Twitter and directed it straight at Nick Griffin. I said, this one's just for you.
Right. Well, you have a feud with Nick?
I have a feud.
Were you part of the BNP at one time?
I was part of the BNP in 2004.
Well, thank you for this interview.
I am in the office in Nazareth Elite, and they've come to visit me, especially from England. And I want my flock to meet this wonderful man who's standing beside me. And his name is Tommy. And this young man lives in a little town, Luton, in London. And there's 40% Muslim population. And in this town there's much violence towards the British and the British Christians. המוסלמים הקיצוניים שאונסים ומתנכלים בנוצרים וכל אחד נוצרי שעובר בשכונה שם. הבחור טומי הקים תנועה מצעירים גרמנים שבאמת רוצים להילחם על קיומם שם היום בלונדון, ולצערנו הוא נרדף שם מצד התקשורת, חלק מהתקשורת, מצד גם המשטרה שבאמת שמו אותו פעמיים אולי בבית כלא, אבל הוא ממשיך עם האמת שהוא מאמין בה והוא רוצה לשמור על בריטניה שתהיה מאוחדת עם הזהות הנוצרית שלה. אני מברך את המעשים האמיצים שלו, ולמרות שהוא אזרח מן השורה, אבל הוא באמת גיבור, כי הוא לא מפחד משום איומים, לא מפחד מהקיצונים שבאמת ניסו גם להתנכר בו, אבל בגלל האמונה שלו באמת הוא ממשיך ולא מוותר. ואנשים כאלה אני אוהב, למרות שגם הם קראו לו פעם שהוא שטן, כי הוא מתנגד לכל המעשים של הקיצונים האלה. אז אני שמח לפגוש את השטן הזה שנלחם עם המוסלמים. Good luck.